Diamond P Sports presents championship drag racing from the National Hot Rod Association. The Gatornationals. Brought to you by Fram, makers of oil, air, and fuel filters, windshield wipers, and Autolite spark plugs and tune-up kits. And by English Leather, toiletries for men. Ask for English Leather and fine toiletry counters everywhere. And by Kodak, whose fine cameras and film help you save all your good times in pictures. The final qualifying attempt for Shirley Muldowney, the world champion. An exploding engine, and the world champ not in the program at the Gatornationals. Proof positive, there's no sure thing in the sport of championship drag racing except excitement, and we've got it for you at the Gatornationals. Shirley Muldowney having a trouble-plagued weekend, capping it in her final qualifying attempt, and Shirley is a bit upset. Billy Monzel in the first round of modified eliminator suffered some parts breakage in his Corvette. Round and round he goes. Where he stops, only Billy knows. A great driving job by both Billy and his competitor minimized damage to only the parts breakage in Billy Monzel's Corvette. The true damage goes to Billy's ego and to his pocketbook for the parts breakage. Andy Manarino, pro stock driver, a horrendous 147-mile-an-hour crash in his Mustang II Pro Stocker. Manarino was hospitalized. The good word is, Andy, back at the races, only minor cuts and bruises. Hello, everybody. I'm Dave McClelland, and the excitement reigns supreme at this 9th annual NHRA Gatornationals. Over 600 race cars on tap. We'll be bringing you all the excitement, and we'll be back in just a moment. The final eliminations for the 9th annual NHRA Gatornationals just a few moments away. Working with me throughout this event will be Steve Evans. Steve is in the pits right now. Let's check in with him.
Dave, talking to the drivers in the pit area, especially in the lower classes, it's pretty much business as usual. A well-prepared car, good driver reactions, means a chance to win. In Top Fuel and Funny Car, though, it's another ball game. They feel it will be a day of finesse. If the driver reels out more horsepower than necessary to win, he's liable to smoke the tires. If that happens, no doubt he'll be beaten. Tremendous weather. It's just perfect for this great 9th annual Gatornationals.
The first cars we'll see this afternoon, Top Fuel dragsters, the kings of the sport. Let's meet some of the drivers.
Hi, I'm Kelly Brown from Tarzana, California.
Richard Tharp, Dallas, Texas.
Hello, I'm Marvin Graham from Oklahoma City. I'm Graham Light, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Hi, I'm Big Daddy Don Garlitz, and I'm from Seffner, Florida.
My name's Frank Bradley. I'm from Napa, California.
My name's Gordon Fabeck, and I'm from Brush Prairie, Washington.
The first pair of cars in Top Fuel eliminator from DeWitt, Michigan, Dick LaHaye. That's with LaHaye, the low qualifier at the Gatornationals, Kelly Brown, driving the Brissett and Drake car from Tarzana, California. Kelly Brown, the man that won the Winter Nationals Championship just about a month ago out in Pomona, California, now the #1 qualifier here at the Gatornationals. Both cars coming into the staging beams at the starting line. And Kelly Brown building a big lead in the middle of the course. Kelly Brown winning at 6.00 second elapsed time, duplicating his qualifying time with a speed of 240 miles an hour. Dale Thier, Whitehall, Pennsylvania, driving for the team of Jim and Allison Lee against the former world champion, Richard Tharp of Dallas, Texas. He drives for the team of Candice and Hughes out of Houma, Louisiana. 6.31 seconds for Tharp to a quicker 6.29 second for Thier. Tharp speed 242 miles an hour to the losing 229. Bob Struckness from Minot, North Dakota. In the far lane, his competition, Clayton Harris out of Bolton, Alabama. Clayton Harris with a big lead at the finish line by over a car length, defeating Bob Struckness. 6.27 second elapsed time, his speed 227 miles an hour. Coming from behind, Clayton Harris defeating Bob Struckness, who had a faster speed, 230 miles an hour. Here in slow motion, you see Clayton Harris beginning to make his move and pulling away from Bob Struckness as they go into the finish line, a little over a car length, the parachute beginning to deploy. Johnny Abbott from Denver, Colorado in the far lane. Ron Barrow, a new driver. This only the 6th run ever in a Top Fuel car for Ronnie Barrow from Pottstown, Pennsylvania, driving for Neil Moss. A big lead for Johnny Abbott. And something going wrong, and Ron Barrow slipping by just at the finish line. Barrow takes the win, 6.22 second elapsed time. That's the amount of time it takes to go from the starting line to the finish line in a quarter-mile drag race. Here in slow motion, you see Abbott pulling away at the start. In the middle of the course, he's got a big lead, and then the motor goes away, and Ron Barrow comes past at 229 miles an hour. The NHRA Safety Safari crew checking over the track as the next pair get ready to go. Bill Selly, driving Dale Shane's car from Lawrence, Kansas, having his problems getting the engine fired. His competition, Graham Light, having completed his burnout out of Spruce Grove, Alberta, Canada, being pushed back to the starting line. And Bill Selly, a tough break for him, qualified very well into this strong Gatornationals field, unable to get the engine to start, so Graham Light will get a single in the first round of competition here at the Gatornationals. Shutting it off early, only runs 6.84 seconds. His speed 173 miles an hour, saving the wear and tear on the parts until round number 2 when he has a tougher race. The competition extremely strong. 16 cars making the first round of Top Fuel Eliminator. Paul Longnecker from Arcanum, Ohio against Gordon Fayback, Rush Prairie, Washington. Longnecker, one of the interesting drivers in Top Fuel Eliminator, one of the few drivers ever to have driven a super stock car. A few years ago, earlier in his career, Longnecker drove a 1957 Chevrolet station wagon in super stock Eliminator. Today, Paul Longnecker sits behind the wheel and in front of 2,000 horsepower in the Kings of the Sport Top Fuel Eliminator. Both cars coming into the staging beams. Those are the light beams across the starting line indicating when both cars are set to go. Buster Couch, the starter, throws the switch, and the race is on to the finish line. Paul Longnecker with a motor explosion by Paul Longnecker. He wins the race, but the motor exploding into pieces. You saw the supercharger bouncing down the track. Here in slow motion, let's watch again. A puff of flame comes out as the motor explodes and the supercharger coming off the car, running right alongside Paul Longnecker. He's going 195 miles an hour at this point. You saw him win the race over Gordon Fayback. The supercharger bouncing down track as Paul Longnecker goes into round number 2, but he's got a lot of work to do. The defending Gatornationals champion, Don Big Daddy Garlitz of Seffner, Florida. Garlitz, in fact, a 2-time winner of this event, having taken Top Fuel Eliminator back in 1972. The Gatornationals now in its 9th year, over $250,000 in cash and awards, over 600 race drivers from all over the United States and Canada started qualifying here 3 days ago, leading to final eliminations where only the best make the final. Don Garlitz qualified number 2, right behind Kelly Brown. His competition, Frank Bradley from Napa, California, former Winter Nationals champion. 238 miles an hour. The home state crowd of Floridians loving it as their hero, Big Daddy Don Garlits, wins the race. Marvin Graham of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma in the near lane against Hank Johnson from Marysville, Washington. Here in slow motion, we see the burnout by Marvin Graham. All cars do burnouts. The purpose, to heat the tires. They're designed to work at the highest temperature possible to provide the ultimate in traction. The crew in hot pursuit to push Marvin Graham back to the starting line. Marvin, a television repairman a few years ago, now a professional racer, won the 1974 National Championship. Hank Johnson with problems, the motor losing fire after the burnout, the crew pushing him back to an area where they can clear Marvin Graham to allow him to make a single run. Hank Johnson not too happy with this turn of events. It's not been a good weekend for Hank. Had trouble getting into the program, actually came in as an alternate. He was the number 17 qualifier. Crew and Hank moving back behind the guardrail as Marvin Graham stages his car to make the single run. And Marvin not shutting it off early, goes 6.26 second elapsed time. His speed 237 miles an hour. Hank Johnson dejectedly getting ready to push his car off the track, as we'll be back with more action from the Gatornationals. Wheeling a full-bodied car at speeds upwards of 160 miles an hour can be quite a handful. Let's meet some of the drivers of the factory hot rods called Pro Stock.
Hi, I'm Gordy Rivera, and I run Pro Stock, and I'm from Yuma, Arizona.
I'm Dino Don Nicholson from Atlanta, Georgia.
I'm Frank Iaconio from Cottowa, New Jersey.
Hi, I'm Wally Booth from Berkeley, Michigan.
Warren Johnson from Fridley, Minnesota, the Chevrolet Camaro. Johnson races Lee Shepard driving the Rare and Morrison car based in Arlington, Texas. This is the second round of Pro Stock Eliminator. They leave the line together, but Warren Johnson beginning to build a little bit of a lead in the middle of the course. Something going wrong with Lee Shepard's car. Warren Johnson taking the win, 8.71 seconds, his speed 156 miles an hour. The next pair finished number 1 and 2 in the world last year. Here's Bob Glidden. His Ford Pinto, the number 2 car in the World Championship chase. His competition, a world champion, Dino Don Nicholson. Nicholson at the age of 50, winning the biggest title of his career. Here it's Bob Glidden winning at 8.59 seconds, 151 miles an hour. In slow motion, we see the big win for Glidden. Several car lengths lead over the world champion. Larry Lombardo driving for Bill Grumpy Jenkins. A Chevrolet Monza, small block Chevrolet engine. Against Gordy Rivera from Yuma, Arizona, another Chevrolet Monza. Lombardo already staged. Here comes Rivera into the staging beams. Together they lead the starting line. Larry Lombardo with lots of top-end horsepower, 8.68 seconds. His speed, 156 miles an hour, as the final pair of this round number 2 Pro Stock eliminations comes out of the burnout area. Frank Iaconio, qualified number 2 in the 16-car field, against the American Motors AMX of Wally Booth. Booth winning this event in 1974. Iaconio having yet to win an NHRA national title. The wheels bouncing off the pavement as Iaconio pulls a bit of a lead right at the start. And that's just enough to hold on for the win. Here in slow motion, Frank Iaconio over Wally Booth. You can see just how close it was.